Hi everyone and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at shaders and how to mix a gradient shader using a number of nodes. I'm going to explain this without using any shortcut keys and try to explain each of the steps as I go along. So I've started a new project and we're going to come into the shading. The minute I click on the shading we get the SDF shader in here with a base color and the material output. This has been applied to the cube. We can change the base color to whatever we want. We want more control of this, create the linear gradient going across this cube. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's use the middle mouse button to pan this off to the right. And come into base color. I'm going to drag from this point. It places a plus on the screen. As we drop, we can add in a node in here, a color ramp. The color ramp maps a gradient to a set of values, a range of values. I'm going to click and drop that. Nothing much has changed, but if I bring this up, you can see we've got some mixing going on there, but it's just mixing between the two colors. We've got no defined gradient for that. To allow for that, I want two more nodes, and that's a mapping node. I'm going to come up to add, come down to vector, and add in the mapping and drop this in. So what we've got here is a mapping and it's got a location, rotation and scale. We can use these to position the gradient. Let's give this some color before I hook it up. So let's use the color stop. So I can click on the color stop here. It will change to black. Click on the black, bring this up and give this, say, a purple color. Click off. That's our first color stop. Second one is the white one. Click on that. Click on the color and give this, say, a yellow. Let's go for yellow for this one and click off. You can see we've got blending of those two colors. Not looking like much at the moment, but that's add in the mapping. We've got a factor on the color ramp. So we take the vector and place it to the factor. It's gone a light purple. So this is actually working at the moment, but not how we want it. We've still got some things to do in here. So if we try to change the location of this, it is going to change the color, but it's going to act basically like the color ramp, placing it more towards yellow as I increase the Z, or as I would decrease it, more towards the pinky purpley color. And the same with the Y. Let's just zero these off. And I'm going to add a splitter because I want the color gradient to come up from the bottom to the top. I want it along the Z axis. The Z axis runs this way. So we're going to split the X, Y, and Z in between here. To do that, let's come out to add, come down to converter, look at separate X, Y, Z. We'll drop this in over this node connection. And what will happen is that the vector will connect to the vector and the top one will connect the factor. At the moment, we're controlling it via the X. We don't want to control it via the X. We want to control it via the Z. Let's take the Z, place that into the factor, and we've got that one there. So if we change the Y, nothing will change, or the X, but the Z will change that color there. Still not right. You can see we're just getting a transition between colors, not a gradient. That we need to apply a texture node onto this. And that will create texture coordinates for each of the vectors on this cube. That'll start any deformation and also brings the texture into scale. Let's come in and zero off all these. So we reset it. And from the vector, pull out a node, we get the plus icon and drop it. And we want texture coordinates. We can see the texture coordinate one there and it's generated. If place that in there. So we get the generated, whoops, let's bring this back down. There we go. We've got the generated going to the vector. All of this is zeroed. Vector from the mapping goes to the separate x, y, z, which separates out the z. This goes into the factor in the color ramp, has our two colors in there, which then goes into the base color. And you can see straight away we have a gradient now. By changing the location, and if we try to do it along the x, you can see nothing happens. That's because we're using the z. Let's come down to the z. As we change that, we get a change in the gradient now. So we can place that where we want. We've got more control over this now. We can use the scale as well to scale this up or down. We've got a nice control over the gradient on our models. And we can add color stops. Let's add in another color stop. Click on it and change this one to say blue. We've got the blue gradient coming in there. That's it. That's how to make a gradient color shader for your models. Hope you enjoyed that video. I hope to see you in the next one. If you're enjoying these videos and you would like to support the channel, then you can do so via my Ko-Fi page. That's at ko-fi.com/MJ3D Studio. Any donations will be used to help to expand the channel. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.